Everyone's glued to the US-China boxing match over Africa. But while we're watching the heavyweights swing, a much smaller fighter has already slipped into the ring, grabbed the referee's whistle, and is quietly rewriting the rules. Meet the United Arab Emirates. Population, smaller than New York City. Bank account, fatter than most African countries' GDP combined. Today we'll trace how this tiny Gulf nation pulled it off, what it's costing the continent, and why most people didn't notice until the cranes were already towering over the ports. Picture Africa at night. The US, China, Russia, they shine like massive floodlights. But along the Red Sea coastline, you'll see a smaller, faster flame darting down. That's the UAE. And while everyone else was fumbling for their keys, the UAE was already inside, rearranging the furniture. Here's the deal. The UAE's oil isn't going to last forever. Some projections say by 2030 they might need to import oil. That's like a baker running out of flour. You either stop baking or find a new supplier. Their solution? Africa. The continent is basically the world's pantry and toolbox rolled into one. Copper for solar panels, cobalt for phone batteries, grain to feed millions, and the Bab al-Mandab choke point. Think of it like a faucet handle for 12% of all global oil trade. The UAE isn't trying to buy Africa's house. It just wants the keys to the water pipes and the pantry shelves. Military bases usually come with parades, flags, and brass bands. The UAE's version? Quiet footprints that look more like Airbnb rentals than full-time homes. In Central African Republic, satellite images show a 2.2 kilometers runway, officially a humanitarian hub. But instead of Red Cross planes, analysts say drones and ammo are landing. In Eritrea, Assab, they've got deep-water berths ready for warships. In Somaliland, Berbera, it's a port run by their shipping giant DP World, plus a base next door. None of these outposts is huge. Think small motels instead of hotels. But string them together, and suddenly the UAE has a 6-hour reach across Africa's eastern seaboard. Like having gas stations every 50 miles. You don't need to own the whole highway, just the stops. Dubai has quietly become the world's gold marketplace. In 2023 alone, 1,200 tons came in, and about a third was African gold. Here's the twist. A lot of it bypassed customs like sneaky hand luggage. In Sudan, rebels swap gold for weapons. Bars are smuggled from Darfur, flown out, and land in Dubai duty-free. In the DRC and Uganda, middlemen scoop gold at bargain prices, refine it, then sell at London rates. Profit margins so fat they can bankroll a militia for a year. It's like laundering clothes, except instead of socks and t-shirts, we're talking about bars of gold funding conflicts. Remember when your friend calls dibs on the best seat before anyone else even walks into the room? That's what the UAE is doing with minerals. $550 million dropped on a near-half stake in the Kapushi copper-zinc mine in the DRC. In Rwanda, Emirati-run companies now own 2 out of 3 tin smelters. Owning ports is like owning the only toll booth on the highway. Every truck that passes, you set the price. DP World runs terminals in Dakar, Maputo, Berbera, Bosaso, and is bidding for Luanda. The deal? Countries keep their flags, but the scanners, gates, and schedules answer to Dubai. When Djibouti tried to cancel one of these contracts, the case went to London courts. Spoiler, the cranes never moved. Once concrete is poured, the UAE makes sure it stays theirs. Here's where it gets slick. The UAE shows up with scholarships, hospitals, and solar grids. Great things. But they tend to arrive right after a port lease or a mining license is signed. In Niger, a $35 million maternity ward opened weeks before copper rights went Emirati. In Somaliland, 200 scholarships were handed out right after the Berbera port deal was sealed. Call it charity, call it down payments. It's cheaper than an aircraft carrier, and the optics are a whole lot nicer. Not everyone's applauding. Kenya's parliament is probing how DP World bagged Lamu port rights without public bidding. In Sudan, protesters chant "Down with Abu Dhabi," alongside slogans against their generals. In the DRC, villagers are suing a UAE-linked refinery for dumping toxic sludge in the river. So what do you think? Is the UAE a smart investor filling gaps the West ignored? Or just another empire in a nicer suit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you've spotted a deal we missed, post the link. This story is still being written. The UAE isn't storming Africa with tanks. It's sliding in with cranes, contracts, and cargo planes. By the time Washington or Beijing drafts another memo, the gold's already sitting in a Dubai vault and the port scanners are stamped DP World. Tiny country, big lesson. In today's world, power isn't about waving the biggest flag. It's about holding the keys to supply chains. And right now, the UAE isn't just holding them. They bought the whole keychain.